fellow organisms. This is my second official video here on YouTube, and honestly, I am a little bit nervous for this one, partially because of the topic I'll be covering today, and also simply just because I'm so new to this. By that, I mean editing long format videos on the technical side, and sometimes it truly just does take a lot of courage to put yourself out there on such an active platform for anyone to view and form opinions. But with that, I don't want to keep yapping for too long, so let's dive headfirst into this video. And if you haven't already done so, feel free to hit subscribe and leave your thoughts in the comments. I'm always excited to see what people have to say, especially when it comes to deep discussions about something I'm passionate about. For this video, the very daunting topic I'll be attempting to shine a new light on is the BTS music video universe storyline and how it might actually be directly intertwined with TXT's own universe. And yes, I am aware that we've all seen the basic links, such as the cat with the heterochromic eyes, and the possibility that BTS's Magic Shop and TXT's Magic Island might be one and the same. There's a completely separate theory, though, that I've had for almost 4 years now, and I've never once heard anyone else voice this idea, except for myself on TikTok. I first came up with this theory back in 2020 while I was doing research for one of my high school English classes. The project we were assigned was to choose any topic we liked, conduct research on it, and then film a private podcast episode covering the details to submit to our teacher. My topic of choice was the BTS music video universe storyline, and while this assignment didn't involve TXT so much, I did mention them a few times because the parallels between their stories were so strong even back then, just a year and a half after Tomorrow by Together first debuted. Since BTS's storyline was my focus though, one of my main sources was the BTS Save Me webtoon. To further understand how to look deeper into the lore though and learn how to communicate it well, I had turned to actual K-pop commentators here on YouTube. The most notable being the YouTuber Mera, and this video more specifically, No One's Driving the Chariot. Mera, by the way, is my all-time favorite creator. You should definitely check out her content. I've been watching her for years. She has immensely inspired me and is the reason I'm here today putting out this content. In this video essay, Mera is discussing the cinematography and deep diving into the artistic choices made in TXT's short film and music video, Eternally. It was because of this video that I began to think more deeply about this scene from Eternally in particular. And while Mera was beautifully drawing attention to and describing the horror tropes at work in this scene, at one point or another, I began focusing on the visual truths of this imagery and what this scene could indicate for not only the whole of TXT's universe, but also how it could be directly linked to BTS. Because if we, as the fandom, have drawn parallels between the two before, shouldn't we assume that there are more layers to their relationship? This universe connection begins relatively close to the start of BTS's own storyline, when Seokjin first meets the white cat, and shout out to xCeleste here on YouTube. Since the BTS Save Me webtoon is now only available when you purchase the episodes, I was having such a difficult time trying to find any screenshots of this scene in particular, until I happened to stumble across her video covering the Bangtan universe. All credit to her for the following screenshots. During Jin's first conversation with the cat, he is asked, "Do you believe you can straighten out the errors and mistakes and save everyone?" To this question, Seokjin's only response would be, "I would do anything." He was willing to give anything in order to save the lives of his friends and allow them to live in peace. What if, because of uttering just these few words, "I would do anything," he would unknowingly be sacrificing an important part of his own future, sacrificing something he wouldn't yet know about? After all, the cat did tell Jin that there would be a price to pay, and in the Bangtan universe, we never see a true price come into fruition. So in my eyes, that means the real punishment must take place outside of the BTS storyline, after the members of BTS are rescued from death and dark futures, and after they find that peace. But how exactly do TXT fit into this? In TXT's Eternally video, beginning at the 14-minute mark, we see Yeonjun. dead, and seated on an earthy throne of flowery vines. What immediately sticks out to me about this scene on a visual level is not the shock of Yeonjun's corpse, but instead, the colors presented to us. Yeonjun is being displayed in, as Mera put it, a very ethereal and godlike way, inside a field of purple and white flowers. His head is adorned by a crown of purple florals, and, most importantly, he's bleeding purple blood. To take a little bit of a sharp turn, for me, it's very easy to see the similarities between this scene and the story of Jesus' crucifixion. While Jesus had a crown of thorns, Yeonjun has one of vines and flowers. Both of these fantastical deaths very obviously occurred in horrifically painful and tragic ways, but as an audience, we're only presented with a more beautiful and representative viewing of these deaths. In the case of the Son of God, Christians today focus on the meaning behind the crucifixion, how it was a sacrifice by God to forgive the sins of man in order to start anew. Here, in Eternally, we can clearly see how gruesome Yeonjun's death must have been. After all, his blood has started to create a spring at his feet, and the way the blood, or representative paint, decorates his skin, we can see that his neck was cut. However, instead of allowing us to see these heinous truths for what they would be in reality, this scene is instead sugar-coated by colorful paint and flowers. There's an ethereal white haze scattered over this imagery. Yeonjun's death must also be a sacrifice that we can derive greater meaning from in the aftermath. However, the way the video creators chose to present Yeonjun's death to us has made me curious for the longest time. At this point, Big Hit Entertainment was still Big Hit Entertainment, and were only managing BTS and TXT. And Big Hit knows that purple is BTS's color and has been since 2016, when Taehyung coined the term borehae. Since BTS's claiming of it, Big Hit has always been very particular about using this color. Whether it be in music videos, songs, or advertisements, purple is used sparingly to represent BTS. What if, in the Bangtan universe, after Jin is able to save all of the members of BTS from their fates, saving Jungkook and Yoongi from taking their own lives, saving Namjoon and Taehyung from ending up in prison, and saving Jimin and Hobi from ending up in the psychiatric hospital, what if they decided to take the train into the magic shop, their magical safe haven, and live there indefinitely? This possibility makes a lot of sense to me because the members of BTS had already been using the magic shop as an escape throughout the storyline. For them, it was a place of peace and rest that they could visit when they needed a break from their own world, where their lives were rich with more problems than solutions. It makes sense for the boys to not risk everything Jin did for them to be in vain. If they had stayed in the real world, another problem could come up at any time and cause any one of them to spiral again. If the members of BTS did eventually decide to reside in their magic shop, I believe Jin would have eventually had a child there. Now, whether Jin or the other members of BTS are able to form romantic partnerships within the magic shop, or if the shop simply gifts Seokjin a son born from magic, is unclear. We know the members of TXT were born on Magic Island, or in the magic shop, in their universe, and eventually find their way into our reality, where they become trainees. But a big question that we've had for years about TXT's storyline is, why is this same cat that was so helpful and acted as a guide to Jin so destructive and monstrous towards TXT? If Yeonjun is in fact the child of Jin, born inside the magic shop, this would mean that Yeonjun's eventual death was the price Seokjin had to pay for taking the cat's gift of time travel. By stating that he would do anything in order to save the lives of his friends, Jin would unknowingly be sacrificing the life of his future child. And the other members of TXT, whether they're also children of BTS members or not, are simply being dragged along for the ride as the cat and as Magic Island itself tried to claim the life of Yeonjun. And with that, thank you so much for sticking around to hear the details of this theory. I really hope one day we will have a definitive answer to the exact ties Big Hit was trying to make between the BTS and TXT storylines, and how they end. But in the meantime, please leave your thoughts in the comments, and hopefully I will be back soon. Thank you.
하지 말해